More now from the next gear on podtech.net at the GM Heritage Center with manager Greg Wallace. A tour in the Heritage Center would not be complete without talking about GM's flagship brand, the Cadillac.
Yeah, at the turn of the century, Cadillac was on the forefront of innovation and technology. This particular car, 1912 Cadillac Model 30 Runabout, is the pinnacle of that achievement. It is the first car to have electric starting system, its own self-starting system.
What I love is this is like the original hybrid, if you will.
In some respects, in the last 100 years, this is the #1 safety and convenience feature to come along on the automobile. The term cranky comes from somebody having a bad day crank starting their car. It was well known that it would injure you. It was the #1 thing that would injure you in automobile operation was crank starting these cars. So with the advent of the electric starter, this was the technology of the day. This car also introduced the first of electric lighting systems on it. The starter is very, very reliable. Cadillac entered into what was known as the Nobel Prize of Automotive Achievement of the time, called the Dewar Cup. And this car started 1,000 times consecutively without any failures. It features a 4-cylinder engine with a very unique electric starting and generator system. The car will go 50 miles an hour, which is also quite fast for that period of time.
And it was just done through a push-button starting mechanism?
Well, it's a little more complicated than that. There's several switches you have to throw and preset a few things, but all in all, it eliminates the crank start, which is probably the #1 thing that it does.
Absolutely beautiful vehicle as we move on down it. It's just got such a great passenger compartment here to it. Lots of room, yet lots of open space as well. It just certainly made a statement, I'm sure, for its time.
Yeah, all leather interior. It's primarily a wood body with sheet metal stretched over the wood. A lot of the sheet metal on it is aluminum. The fender sets and running boards are metal, but a lot of the body pieces are actually aluminum. It also features in the back seat a robe rail. They didn't have heaters in the cars at the time, so they sold wool blankets that you would hang on that rail and to cover your legs up for the passengers to stay warm.
As we continue our tour of Cadillac, we're going to actually walk down the line of vehicles here and really talk about the tail fins of all these vehicles, because that is really a big story about Cadillac when you think about it.
Yeah, Harley Earl in 1938 took his designers out to the local Air Force base here in the Detroit area, Selfridge Air Force Base, and he showed him a new airplane that he was taken by called the P-38 Lightning aircraft. The P-38 had twin rudder booms. It also had radiator duct openings in the side of his fuselage, and for 1948, the black car here, they feature some of those styling cues, the twin tail fins as tail lights, as well as a side trim that shows the radiator duct openings. Another unique feature to Cadillac, starting in 1941, is the gas fill under the left taillight lens, and this continued on through 1958.
Absolutely gorgeous vehicles. These are icons in the automotive industry.
Absolutely. I mean, these are the cars that, the dignitaries and kings and queens of countries drove. We also have a 1949 Coupe de Ville. This was the fastest car you could buy in 1949. Cadillac introduced its first overhead valve V8 engine, which the two principal designers, Ed Cole and Harry Barr, moved on to Chevrolet in 1955 and developed the overhead valve V8 engine, or the small block Chevy we know today.
As we move down here, I just absolutely love this convertible Cadillac here. It is just simply gorgeous. 1953.
1953 Eldorado, and it features the first of the wraparound windshields. It's also the first of the 12-volt electrical systems for an automobile. Very uniquely styled. It has a dip in the windowsill, which became a styling cue for almost all GM vehicles throughout the 50s. Only 533 of these were built, so they're very, very rare cars today.
And of course, as we continue on down, we're into the contemporary era of Cadillac, and the emphasis on style, quality, and luxury certainly has continued.
Yes, it has. And these two cars, this is the Bicentennial 76 Eldorado, and it was the last one off the assembly line. They only built 200 of them to begin with, and the last 200 of them were Bicentennials, and this is number 200 of that group. We also kept the last square Seville, as we call it. This debuted in 1975 as a 76 model car and continued on through 79 as a rear-wheel drive Seville model. The rear-wheel drive cars were very popular in the 90s, and we have what we call the Brome. and it was built through 1996. And we've kept the last of a lot of these cars because they're milestone vehicles for Cadillac.
And as we fast forward to 2008, we end up at the Cadillac XLR, really the epitome of style and luxury in a two-seat roadster.
Absolutely. It's got the power to performance. It really is a luxury performance vehicle. When the Evoque came out in 1999, we recognized right away that this was a hit. The XLR came out shortly afterwards, and it stayed true to the original Evoque design. This particular model is a Neiman Marcus. It was sold in the Neiman Marcus Christmas catalog, and the car sold out in 14 minutes. So that kind of shows you the popularity of the vehicle.
It is certainly a vehicle I would love to have in my garage, but may not be there anytime soon. Wishful thinking. Maybe it'll be on my Christmas wish list this year. Greg Wallace, once again, a pleasure having you here today, manager of the GM Heritage Center, a man who probably has the best job in the world, at least in my book. I'm Matt Kelly for the next year on podtech.net.